to the intro. Here we And we are live here with Mr. Gary Shipman and our good friend, and a new announcement. B.L. Blankenship is now iShook Comics editor-in-chief.
And not ashamed to put it in the title down there.
So we're happy for that. Ben has been able to get our project out there live, Super Black. And another announcement, we are working on creating a game for Super Black on the Roblox and potentially Fortnite. Absolutely. These are Q1, Q2 that we're trying to go for. And we are going to revamp our AishaComics.com website as well to include other comics for sale as well. So we are here with our good friend, B.L. Blankenship, and our great guest, Mr. Gary Shipman. Gary, talk to us. Where are you from? What do you do? Obviously, it's going to be in the comic sphere because it is Aisha Comics podcast here. What's going on? Talk to us, babe.
Yeah, my name is Gary Shipman. I've been wanting to be a comic book artist pretty much my whole life. I mean, it wasn't until probably my teens that when I actually saw comic books and understood what they were to a certain degree, that I wanted to do that. And I realized, oh, people do this for a living. And so I've been pursuing it on and off for over 30 years.
Wow.
Back in I collected comics a lot when I was in my teens or whatever. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, I quit. I just said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I went to San Diego Comic-Con one last time, and I did like a tryout page, like sample pages, pencils, took it around, and I said, if Marvel or DC doesn't pick me up, then I'm done. And so I went around and showed different artists, people that I knew, and they're like, you should go to Dark Horse, you should go over here, you should go there. And I'm like, no, if it's not Marvel, if it's not DC, I don't want to do it. I showed it to Klaus Janson, who was very nice guy, to me anyways. And he said, I could get you a job right now if you want to do coloring. And I'm like, no, I want to be a penciler. So I turned down a job with Klaus Janson. So anyways, I've made it difficult on myself over the years, but now I'm just doing my own thing, my own comic books and things like that.
Do you think that was a good idea, making that difficult on yourself, where you create your own criteria? I mean, I find sometimes, people create their own blockages.
Well, I did, and I'm going to just chalk it up to that it was meant to be, Like, okay. I wasn't supposed to be in those circles, and I wasn't supposed to do that. It took me in a different direction. And so now I've learned to do virtually everything. I've learned how to pencil, to ink, to color, to letter, to publish. I've done all of it, and so that's a blessing. It's good to be able to know what I'm doing when it comes to all these arenas. The one thing that I have had a problem with is distributing. I have to say that's not one I've conquered.
Yeah, I always said in business, there's a big problem. Production should never meet sales. Sales and production should never mix. This is my biggest problem I have because I could never find a good sales team. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I'm a very good salesperson. But at the same time, I can never find people that will be passionate about the production of my projects as much as I'm going to be. So it's a catch-22, and it's a dilemma. I think any person who does independent creatives has this problem, right? Because you know how to create your product, and you can't find the people to distribute the product as well. So it's a little bit complicated. So, no doubt. I feel you. I'm in the same boat.
Benny's not a passive CEO either. He's a bulldog. He goes out there and he gets it and he makes things happen. And I've always been that way. And it sounds like you're that way because, I mean, you put out comic after comic after comic after comic. And I mean, you've got to be a go-getter to get things done. You can't do. I've played in bands. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you're like in a band and all they ever want to do is practice and never play a gig. You find that in comics.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like you got to get out there and you just got to do shows. You do cold
Right.
calls and you make it happen.
Right. Yeah. Can I show some of my books?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. So years ago, like over 25 years ago, this was the first title that I did. It's called Packin's Land, and I'm doing a 25th anniversary right now where I'm going in and colorizing the pages and everything, and new covers and everything. This was done by Caliber Press back in 90, I want to say 96. They started publishing it, and then they went under after, they did about maybe 17 issues of this series. It was nominated for an Eisner, a Russ Manning, and a Harvey.
Wow.
All in the same year for like best new talent or the title deserving of more, eyes on it and stuff. But that's the first series that I did. And I did about like 18 issues of it. In the last couple of years, I've been doing this, Titan, Mouse, and Might. And I've got 9 issues of this done. And this is the one that I've been most excited about. I think it shows my work to the best, the best of my ability so far in comic work. I do like commissions and things like that as
Well,
well.
the question is, that comic still in production, or is it?
This is done. I've got like 9 issues done. Where are they?
You can find them on Amazon and all as well. I mean, so they're out there. They're accessible.
I should have pulled all of them down. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We can go to Amazon and show it if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, I can share the screen with Amazon.
I think I saw like a compendium or whatever. If you type in Titan Mouse of Might, you'll see some, and they're reasonably priced. They vary, I mean, some are like $7, some are $10. They've got them. He's got some what do you call it? E-comic stuff as well. So there's digital and physical copy options on there. But
Right.
yeah, I like that.
What's that thing called again?
Titan Mouse of Might. Titan Mouse of Might.
1 second. Titan Mouse of Might.
Are you typing in the search bar?
I'm gonna type it. There we go.
You just wrote it in our private chat thing.
I know.
Okay. Yep.
Here it is.
That's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
2020. That's nice.
So yeah, I'm working on issue number 10 now.
And I like the accessibility of the pricing. Like when I put things out, iShook's Super Black. It's a good price too. It's like 48 pages. What I think $11.99 is what we've got it for a physical issue. It always scares me, and I know that a lot of things are graphic novel length where it's like 90 whatever pages or whatnot. But when it's like a lot of these indie things that come out, it's like pay 20 some bucks for this, and you're like, but that's a gamble. Like $5 doesn't seem like a bad gamble, and if you like it, you're gonna get the next one. And it's like, how much do I want to pay to like try something out? The ebook thing works great with that, because then you can like go in easy and kind of get your foot wet and see if you like it well enough to like buy the hardcover and paperback and whatnot.
I think I made a mistake. I should never show the Amazon, because a few of my private information will show.
Here's some original.
Ooh, I like that.
That's very good.
No, is that from Titan?
Yeah, this is from Titan.
Okay. What is the bad guy? Who is that? Is it the main bad guy?
That is it's the name of this. It's like a 3-issue stint, and it's called Miasma, and it basically is like this darkness, this evil, and that's what that is. And then here's little Titan down here.
So it's like a smoke.
It's sort of like I don't even know. It's I don't want to spoil the story, but it doesn't really matter. People can be spoiled. It doesn't matter. But basically,
where's your spoiler hat?
It's in the other room, and I thought that when he said that. Yeah, I'm always saying how things end or how they go or whatever.
Right. Well, he's got inner turmoil that he's dealing with, and this is sort of like his inner demons that he's battling, and so that's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
Interesting.
That looks good. I like that.
So that production already out, or just samples?
This is out.
Wow.
Now, is it colored inside, or is it a black and white book?
It's a black and white inside. Here's I collected them into hardcovers. So this is the first 3 issues collected into 1 volume, and it's a hardcover. And so that's the first one. I did I did 2 more as well. So here's a volume 2 as well, hardcover, that has issues 4, 5, and 6.
That's cool.
And then I have the third one.
One second. I'm going to try something. Let's see if it helps. There we go.
Yeah.
Just for a second. Better? There we go.
And this is volume 3. That was what you were just looking at.
Yeah, I just mirrored you so we can actually read the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
so
cool.
that's the cover that you were just looking at in black and white.
Cool.
So that's issues 7, 8, and 9. And they're in volumes. So
now, is Titan like Batman? Did he have a traumatic experience that caused him to get into being a superhero?
Yeah, I'm sure his mice parents were killed.
no, it's.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, he looks like him, but he comes from another dimension where the animals talk and they're intelligent, and an explosion happens there that he's a part of, and it sends him hurtling into the real world, I guess you'd say, the world of men. And that's where, even in that explosion and traveling through that portal, he's endued with power. So he has like strength, he's like strong. And I guess he'd be a mixture of Batman and Superman.
Right.
But he also
it's like the guy, what's his name? The Duck? What's his name?
I think it's Howard the Duck. Yeah.
Yeah, Howard the Duck. It's like a Howard the Duck.
He comes from a world where ducks talk, and he's like to Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
then Marty McFly's mom tries to hook up with him in the movie, but that's another thing.
Yeah, that's a
right.
And he was also in what's it called? Spoiler.
Yeah, he was
also in Galaxy.
Yeah, with was it Thanos at the end or somebody like that? It was one of the villains at the end, and
he was in the Galaxy 4. No, he was in the Galaxy 4.
Wasn't he just
he was at the end of the movie, and he was also in the middle of the movie of
I've not seen either of those movies, but I've seen the end trailer thing with Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
He's got,
I mean, they should bring back Howard the Duck. I think they're bringing back the Howard the Duck, the movie. Anyway, side reel. Okay, go ahead. I apologize, Gary. So that's the whole the premise. He's in a different dimension coming in, and he looks like Batman. That's cool thing about it, right?
Yeah. Well, his ears, they get covered with a cowl or whatever. So he has a Batman-esque look to him, but he's not Batman.
Did DC send you an email saying, why are you using Batman's clothing? I mean, do they?
No.
They didn't bother you for any copyright.
Can he talk to people?
Excuse me?
Can he communicate with human beings?
Yeah, he can communicate with humans and things like that. Most of the stuff that in these 3 volumes takes place in a lab. And so he's basically fighting against an organization who is doing experiments and things like that on animals. And so he's like the hero who's trying to save all those animals, but at the same time trying to find a way back home.
I like that. That's cool. So just like in the real life, Big Pharma's the bad guy.
Exactly.
Interesting. So how's your current experience in sales and production? You said you do all from literally A to Z.
Well, we did a lot better, I would say. We were doing like fantastic with volume 1, which was before the pandemic stuff. Then we came out with we did crowdfunding like through Indiegogo and things like that, and we did really good. Then the second volume came out, and I was thinking it's just gonna, here we go. But anytime you think that, it never goes the way you think. And so then I think it might have been around that time that the pandemic was starting to happen and just messed up everything. It's like the momentum was gone. And so now it's just basically been It's just something that I want to do. I enjoy drawing. I enjoy telling a story with pictures, and so that's what I'm going back to, those basics of just the love of the medium and exploring it and things like that. And I've run into some strange things online, like people, I don't know, somebody's hacking my YouTube channel and just wrecked it. And so I lost it. I had like 1,500 subscribers, and that was where I communicated with people. Lost it, and then a year later, to the day, they did it again, and it was just like, what is going on? It's just so strange.
You have to do two-step verification. You got to do two-step verification. Can't just have email and that's it. Two-step verification. Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm trying to build my YouTube channel up again, but just kind of like, whatever, you know, you got to hold on to this stuff loosely, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
How big do you think that is in your marketing, the YouTube presence?
Well, when we first were doing the volume 1 stuff of Titan, it was huge. It was like, that's where I communicated with everybody. I told them, like, here's the campaign over on Indiegogo. Now it's like my voice is just so, now it's just so small, and it's like you disappear off those platforms, the major ones, then no one knows. And the whole industry, I think, there's a new possibility for people, creators, and things like that, because of the internet. It's just opened up the doors for creators that if you do it right, wow, you can really do it. You know, you don't need to go to a big publisher or anything. You can do it yourself. Yeah. As long as you don't have any weird things happen where you lose your channel or something. But yeah.
Where do you crowdfund at? Are you Kickstarter, Indiegogo? Who do you do?
At first I used Indiegogo, and then I experimented with Kickstarter some as well. And then a new one came in, Fund My Comic.
Yeah.
And I've used them. So I have, at the moment, I have a campaign. I have 2 campaigns up on Indiegogo. One's for a sketchbook, and one is for Titan, the newest issues. I have like 7, 8, and 9.
Out of all 3, which is the most easiest to fund through? Fund Comic or Kickstarter, Indiegogo? Which do you find easiest?
Okay, so the fulfillment part, the easiest one for me is Indiegogo, because everything is just very straightforward. You can look at your campaign, and you can see who got what, and if someone backed multiple times, you can put them all together, and you can ship all out at once. Kickstarter is a little bit more difficult that way. It's like they don't let people back more than once, or maybe they changed that. I don't know, but it's just sort of strange. And you have to send out like a survey to all the people who backed on Kickstarter, asking them for their address so that you can send the book to them, or whatever it is that you've crowdfunded. And so that's a little weird to me. Kickstarter is a little strange. So Indiegogo, I would say, is the best. Fund My Comic is fine. I love how their platform is, when you're building your campaign, you can just kind of copy paste things. It's really easy that way. But when it comes to fulfillment, it's sort of wonky. You gotta, like, even the way that they say, like, you can't add a tracking number into the backers thing. You have to kind of have a side thing over here, keeping track of, this maybe a piece of paper or something, where you're keeping track of each backer as you've fulfilled it. It's a little bit odd. So Indiegogo is the best, I would say, for me.
Okay. That's cool. I've heard people say that, and I don't know if it's just different audiences, but I have heard some people claim that you can make more money off of Kickstarter, but I think that you have to make your minimum on Kickstarter, whereas with Indiegogo, and you tell me if I'm wrong, on Indiegogo, if you have a goal of whatever, but it's going to be finished regardless, that you can just take the money that you do make and keep it and just, you know, carry on, even if you don't make whatever the exact number is that you have in. Is that true?
Yeah. I kind of bypass that on Kickstarter. I just make my initial goal really low. It's just like $100.
Yeah,
And so
okay.
then you did it. If you make $100, you did it, you fulfill. But what you're talking about is a fixed goal versus a flexible goal.
Yeah.
The flexible goal is that if you don't make it this is on Indiegogo, if you don't make the full amount, you'll still get the money. The creator of the crowdfunder will still get the money, and then you can still go forward with your project and fulfill it, you know, to the best of your ability.
No, is Titan Mouse, and I'm just curious about this. Is he strong as like a human being, or is he just strong compared to animals that are relatively his size? Like if Mighty Mouse and him got in a fight, who would win?
Probably Mighty Mouse, because Mighty Mouse is Mighty Mouse.
Well, yeah.
But he's stronger than animals. You know, like he could take on a dog. I don't know. He's stronger than a human. Like he could knock a human out.
So he's about as strong as a bull, essentially.
Yeah, he's strong.
Okay.
So this is the comic read sample here. The Mouse of Might, #3. Miss it or not. Very cool. Loving it. Is this a print on demand, or this is like what is this version?
Yeah, that would be print on demand.
Wow.
I think that has a really good aesthetic. I'd noticed those a while back.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's neat.
And you did all the artwork, right? Yourself?
Yeah, I did everything.
Wow. This is very cool. Let me see if they have, and then you have over here, you have your profile here, so everyone can check your profile.
No, you do your own colors as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did that Star Trek book up there too, Fun with Kirk and Spock.
Really? How'd you get the rights to it?
They contacted me.
Wow.
And asked me if I would do it. It was like the fastest job that I've probably ever done.
Benny is a hard.
There's one of my sketchbooks, a couple of my sketchbooks in there. The Goth and Ugly sketchbook, and then that one down there below it is another one.
This one. Yeah, I love Star Trek. I grew up with Star Trek.
Yeah, I love it too.
I had a rabbi in my school, high school. He had a whole lecture saying how if you go through Star Trek, all the innovations within the Star Trek realm, how the technology has been matching it. One of the things he says, if you look at the cell phone back then, you had the Motorola flip phone.
Right.
So you look at the Motorola flip phone and you see the Star Trek, what's it called? With the communicator. He says that's look at the reality of how it really manifested to what it is
they
now.
mimicked that on purpose. They made them that way because of Star Trek, because they were such fans that it was like, let's make that into a reality.
Yeah, maybe the cosmetic of it, but the technology wasn't because Star Trek had it, because Star Trek manifested it.
If
they said
people would have listened to Tesla. he talked about all that. He talked all this talk that sounded insane to people because it was like so far ahead.
What do you mean?
Like of technology and like the curve and everything. His thinking was like so advanced that it was like before its time, to the point that either it's like genius or he's getting some kind of supernatural whatever kind of stuff.
Well, they say the whole Simpsons thing is supernatural, no? How they predicted almost everything there.
It's weird, man.
Yeah, they predicted literally everything in The Simpsons. It's like Nostradamus is like writing The Simpsons. No, but how do they predict it? I mean, I don't think it's necessarily prediction. It's just people brainstorming and saying, like, this could happen due to realities of society. I mean, that's my opinion, but I don't know. It's till today, to me, it's mind-boggling. How is it possible that a group of writers writing a cartoon are able to literally imagine future events. Like they predicted Trump will win because they had a whole skit about Trump running and winning and become president, right?
I'm going to
But-
answer that they potentially all work for the CIA. I cannot prove or disprove that. That is an out of the air theory, but
Well, they worked for the CIA.
I know the CIA has like it's came out that they've did things in newspapers and all that and put information or disinformation or whatever. Is that Mockingbird? Is that the project that was? But yeah, that they would write in whatever
Connection
stories
law.
they wanted to just to see what happened. I work with this dude and he talks about some story that was put out. It wasn't by the CIA, some bogus story, and it was about how people swallow like 7 spiders or whatever a year, and it was
That's
just
disgusting.
absolute garbage because they wanted to see how hard people would run with it, and people just bought it because it's like, what would the likelihood be that you would swallow that many spiders? I mean, a spider, let alone a higher number of spiders. Are there that many spiders in your house? Are you sleeping with your mouth open? I mean, it's nuts thinking. I mean, it's like how could you prove that if you wanted to make that point? I don't know that you could.
Prove what? That you're eating
That
spiders?
someone's swallowing. So I mean, it was garbage anyway. But I mean, you got to say, that's possible. But how probable is that? I don't think that it seems, very at all.
Yeah,
But no.
I remember when that came out, and I was thinking, how in the world would anyone know? What? Is someone sitting by you while you sleep every night, watching to see if a spider crawls in your mouth?
It's to freak people out. It's to freak people out, and there's been so much of that in the news, even here with the political stuff. And it's good that like Bill Maher got up and he said, no, Trump's not going to put people in chains. But you get these news personalities that say this is what's going to happen if this happens, and that's what's going to happen, and people get hysterical because they're listening to someone on the television and they're taking it like it's the gospel. What they're saying, and they just like go berserk. When you talk about like the wall, every single president before Trump, I mean, not every single, but I mean, a bunch. The Clintons said it, the Bushes said it over and over and over. Democrats and Republicans are like, we need to get a wall, we need to get a wall, we need to get a wall. I think the problem is that they were politicians and they would say one thing and do another. And then when you have a guy that's actually putting up a wall and things have changed for the worse dramatically, then the people that have hammered get a wall, get a wall, get a wall, say this is a terrible person that he's going ahead and doing this and getting a wall. And I don't want to make that into a big political thing. I'm just saying, if you know about the history and all of it, and if you don't have the memory of a goldfish where you forget in 5 minutes, everyone had said that, because it would be insanity to think that criminals are getting in. That's why they got due process. It's let people in.
Okay, getting back to comics, Ben. Getting back to comics. Okay,
the spirit of Benny was upon me. I'm telling you, he gets fired up over political stuff. Go ahead.
No, listen, a political show is iShook Daily by Rabbi Benny. That's more politics. You want to join that show? We can do that show tomorrow. But it's during the day usually I do. I'm starting it again next week, Monday. I try to do it this week. I had glitches with my tech here, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So listen, comic industry, I think it is the future in the sense of depicting, but comic and AI is, I think, one of the biggest questions I would ask you, right? You have a lot of AI able to create sections of comics and comic itself.
Yeah.
Like, how would that change the market? I mean, people just create, like I know a lot of the comic industry peoples in general, they're like boycotting AI. If it's an AI comic, they're not gonna read it, they're not gonna support it at all.
I've seen some out.
Yeah, I've seen some out already also. Yeah.
Oh, you have? I haven't seen anything, but I've seen the stuff, just what everybody sees with AI generated thumbnails and things like that they look amazing. And it's like, would I want to see a whole book, comic book, or even an animated or a movie? Maybe the novelty of it might be interesting to see something like that, but I don't know that that's what I'm necessarily wanting for myself. Like,
right.
I don't know that there's much appeal to me. Now, to the younger generation, maybe they're all into it. Maybe that's like, oh no, we don't care if it was made by
No, they do care. They do care.
algorithm.
Yeah, they do. I think they do care, but I think AI could be a good tool to getting I used AI to depict to the comic developers, the comic illustrators, what I want in the imagery of the specific AI.
It's concept
Right.
art. It's
Right,
concept art.
yes.
Not like in the do not think that Super Black has AI art in it. It
Super
doesn't.
Black is
But
not AI art.
No,
I
at
spent a
all.
lot of money.
I've
I
seen
spent a
the
lot of money of
pencils,
that.
a lot. I've seen the pencils. I've seen the inks, all that. But it's concept art. He said, kind of make something like this.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was like,
Like
oh,
this is what I'm envisioning because for some reason, because the way I put the prompt, listen, the prompt of the computer will understand me better than the prompt that I'm giving the illustrator. No offense to the
Nice.
illustrator, right? So, and then
Well,
I
I know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I know. I have friend artists and stuff that that they do use AI kind of as like a tool to, like, say, render backgrounds to like a hospital. Like
Right.
somebody's in a hospital and they needed to do the hospital room or the surgery, whatever they're going to do, and all the components would be there, and then they would use that, like, lightbox it or whatever, and
3D assets. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
use
think
it.
that's the way to go. I think that's where you save, first of all, time and money, and you can produce more. See, people in the industry are looking at the wrong way. Use the AI to produce more output with your illustrators. Don't use the AI to replace the illustrator. Use it as an aid for illustrators. And this is the
It's
problem with
damaged
illustrators. They don't get
animation,
that, huh?
It's damaged animation. But Steven Silver was talking about that. He said two things have happened that have like been crippling blows to the animation industry. He said one, AI. Two, getting stuff overseas is hurt like the American animators, like China. Because you can get it like really cheap. And
Well, with all the respect,
animation's cheap and good in South Korea too. They're like Pixar level.
well, you got to understand. One second, and this, by the way, though, I think manga is being very successful. No offense to individuals who are illustrating, but they should not be taking high pay. They should be working on reasonable pay, competitive to overseas as much as possible, not to undersell you, but be comparable, comparable, right? Once again, let me finish. Listen, stop talking. Let me talk. So now,
I want to come back to that,
and they should be asking for profit sharing and royalties on their comics. See, they're not the illustrators are not looking at this the right way. They got to say, okay, listen, I'm willing to work on your IP. I'm going to charge you very minimal, right? I'll do A to Z for you. But I want royalties. Start acting like celebrities, where they went into the industry of film and they start saying, no, I want back end royalties. I want this royalty. I want that royalty. And once you get to that level, you don't understand, that will change the comic industry. You will be creating so much more comics and output, and you'll be making more sales, because what you're doing is you're creating a system where it's cost effective to create not just one issue a year. You're creating 5 to 10 issues a year. Listen, people have a short attention span, and if we in today's social media markets are able to create comics that can generate, income, it's like, I'll give you an example. Like, a lot, and you do this a lot. A lot of this is happening in YouTube, where people are taking a comic story, not necessarily from the IPs that exist, and they're creating a comic movie where they're flipping the pages and they have people reading those pages, right? That in itself can be a YouTube. I can open an Aisha Comics YouTube channel like that and get everybody's stories out there and do market sharing on advertisement sales. Because once you have a YouTube channel like that with 1 million followers, it's making crazy money, and you're just doing royalty sharing on the comic stories. And people will be watching these comic stories every day. It's like watching a cartoon. Think about it. It's easy development, easy creation, and then tomorrow you get yourself you get marketing, you get a little bit of money, you get your stuff out there, and production, and then you can put the buy the book now, merch, so on and so forth. This is a huge business model, and I just created an idea that I'm going to be doing Aisha Comics story Will be our new YouTube channel, by the way. Gary, would you want us to do your comic to be the first one to do this? I don't know.
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, Ben, that's it. We're gonna do it.
No. I mean, and the royalty thing is right. The issue that you have with several companies, which I'm not going to go into back and forth because I know artists that talk about it, is them actually getting the royalties. I do know that people have been paid for like a DC or a Marvel movie when something's directly inspired by something that they drew. That there has been some good things that have went on there that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. But yeah, the royalties thing happened as far as like the competitive, like upfront pay. You know that there's places that are far more affordable in the world than otherwise. If somebody was making $20 an hour in East Tennessee versus $20 an hour in Hawaii, they would be making dramatically less money in Hawaii by virtue of the cost of everything, even though it's still $20 American there.
Yeah,
so,
but the difference is, one second, I'm sorry for cutting you off here, but the difference is in all these foreign countries, yes, you're paying them, yes, you're paying them, let's say 50% less. Each country is different how much you're paying less, right? Some countries are just the same, right? But we are in a global market. But the difference is in the US, we have more opportunities of making money than other places. You have more influencers in the US than you have in most other countries. Most other countries don't have access to these phones and TikTok and social media, Instagram and YouTube. Well, YouTube is more, but as much, as much we have more opportunity to make money off our IP than other countries do. Let's be frank. Let's be clear on that, right? You go to China, you don't own your IP. The government owns your IP, at least 50% of the IP. You're in the US, you own your IP in full, right? This is your IP. You can do whatever you want. You can buy, you can sell it. You can sell your whole portfolio for $1 million if it's valued at that. You do a 10-year run. How much could I make in 10 years? You 10x it. That's your value of your IP
you're
potentially,
the
right?
Guy. I'm not
but that's again, I think, and this is what we got to train all the comic industry, illustrators and creators. Taking royalties. If you do other people's IP, say, listen, I'm not asking for a lot. I want 2% royalty on your IP. And this is the minimum price I'm giving you. I'm giving you, like, let's say, give an example, $20 for penciling, $20 for inking, $20 for coloring, $80. That's it. $60, I'm sorry. But I want 2% royalties. And I'll pop out every quarter, you get one issue from me. Nothing wrong with that. That's nothing wrong with that. You're building an IP. You're building yourself into because you got to build your brand, your name, right? It's not just the comic, because we had this discussion with Chuck Dixon, right? Where people's became celebrities with the comic, right?
Image Comics,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
McFarlane and so
and then they shut everybody down, right? But now the industry is completely different. You have Marvel and DC, from what I've learned from all the comic players, right, that we interviewed. Marvel and DC are raping the industry. They're not producing new projects, new comics, because they don't need to. Why would they need to? They have a DCU already set for the next 10 years. It's going to make them $5 billion. Why would they waste any money for new IP? DC now, with James Gunn going into DC, he's going to do a whole plan for the next 10 years. Why do they need to waste any money?
An interesting thing about Marvel and DC, and I guess that you know about the guy that's Falcon playing the new Captain America. He got the shield in whatever movie.
Yeah. But I think is that even a comic? Does that even exist?
Or
that's a made-up thing?
He does. But Steve Rogers is also still Captain America. I had a conversation with somebody about that. So anyway, he gets up and he says, wherever he is at this meeting, like just the actor saying this, not in the movie. He says, I think that Captain America, and I'm paraphrasing, his wording isn't like this, but you can look at it exactly. The Captain America shouldn't necessarily represent America. Like torpedoing a movie that's already had so many bad review watches, whatever they call those screenings.
Tomatoes,
and they've refilmed, but Disney's like, we're still going to do it, even though all signs indicate that this movie is going to bomb so hard that
They don't care. They don't need to care because it's Disney Plus. They need the subscribers. Anyway, go ahead.
Let me finish. At the
Okay.
same time, DC's doing the complete opposite. So they made it's either a Batgirl or Batwoman film. They had it made, filmed, done pretty well, and they said that this is an unshowable movie. Whatever that means. I think
it wasn't a movie. It was a show. It was a show.
Yeah, it would do them more.
It was a series. They canceled the series.
They pulled it. They finished it and they pulled it.
Yeah.
And they said it's better not to let it come out. So that's two totally different takes on that same kind of ideal, that we've invested so much money in this, but DC sitting back and they're like, we're looking down the road and we don't feel like this is worth putting out for whatever reasons.
Yeah, but we were confusing. DC is not DC. DC is Warner Brothers.
Max. HBO Max.
No, it's Warner Brothers.
No, it is. It's Time Warner DC.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So Warner Brothers makes that decision ultimately, right? The team in Warner Brothers, and then you have Disney is Disney. So Disney makes that decision to put out all these films. And I tell you why they're putting out all these films, because they're focusing on subscription, right? They gotta pop films out like Netflix. They're in competition with Netflix right now. Netflix has it golden. They're producing product and movies that supplement their subscriber base. Okay. Therefore increasing the subscribers. And Daniel always said, Daniel Baldwin, who's part of our company, he always said that Netflix is catering, and all these companies are really catering to a very minute group in our society that can afford $200, $300 a year for a Netflix or a subscription, right? Like I cancel my HBO Max subscription. It's a waste of time, waste of money, waste of time. Right? Why spend all this money yearly? They're constantly increasing the numbers.
They have a lot of stuff, dude. They've got the.
I know, but what's going on? One second. But what's going on with Netflix is getting the IP of HBO Max and putting into Netflix. So you don't need that HBO Max subscription. Okay. So again, it's it's not necessary. And plus, I don't need it because I have Ben tell me all the spoiler alerts. No point in watching the shows anymore.
Not for Nosferatu. You shut me down so hard, man. Have you watched that yet, by the way?
Stop.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, we're going to have to end it, by the way.
It came out like 100 years ago, Benny.
I didn't watch it. Okay. I don't watch that much the way you guys think.
You
I'm
said
very small.
Nosferatu.
No, I'm not. I just said it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Listen, so Ben, I appreciate you bringing Gary. Gary, I appreciate you. Anyone who wants to first QR code Ben's Instagram, that's awesome. Here's Mr. Gary Shipman's Instagram QR code for his website. And I think we're going to do some business together, Gary. I think I have a few ideas. Maybe we make something happen to promote your YouTube channel. And I think we're going to do the iShook Comics story, right? The story channel where we get voice actors, read the story, and have it flip pages.
A motion comic is, by the way, the wording of what
there you go. Motion comic. Yeah.
I was thinking, what is that name?
Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. Listen, I think I have many ideas, and I appreciate everybody coming on the comics. We had a lot of guests, and I appreciate every one of them. And we're gonna promote every one of them as well, because it's not so simple just to come on our show. You take your time and be part of our show. I haven't grilled people hard like I did with Gary. Gary, I get more business questions, I believe, than others. But I think because I have a little connection with Gary. It's like you realize you got to do it all, because you can't rely on anyone else to do it. At the end, and I feel you. I mean, we do have side projects. And we do have people who we hire. Like I learned something very valuable. If it's a skill that's going to take me too much time to learn, I'm not learning that skill, even though I know I can learn it, because it's just not enough time to do it. You want other things to be done. Like, for example, video editing. I don't do video editing. I hire people to do video editing, right? Shorts. I don't do the shorts. You have AI that does the shorts now. By the way, the AI technology has boosted my ability to do so many things without paying people.
I wanted to ask Gary a final question.
Sure,
Go ahead. You talked about doing commissions. How active are you in that? And what do you have a general rate, like a low high? Because I know that commissions go all over the place, like due to the complication of them.
I do a regular live stream show on Whatnot. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of it.
It's sort of like eBay, but it's live. And I go there and I do a live drawing show almost every day. And then there's a bin or a buy it now kind of a category on the on the stream or whatever, that people can go look through it and they can see different commissions and different things like that, rates and whatnot.
Okay. Very cool.
Wow,
So
interesting. I didn't
it's
even know this
Gary,
company existed.
yeah, it's Gary Shipman Art on Whatnot.
Awesome. I learned another thing today. Another company out there. Wow. Live shopping and marketplace. I apologize, guys. I'm like recovering from us, being sick for a while. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Gary, for attending this podcast. We appreciate
thank
you
you for
here at
having me.
Aisha Comics. No doubt. Always, we want you to come back again. Anytime you want. Just
Thank you.
tell us, keep us posted. We'll schedule you in. Ben, as always, head of Aisha Comics, editor in chief. He's working right now on a Super Black issue 2. Is it done? Is issue 2 done?
Yeah.
All right, issue 2 done is completed with writing. So Ben has written the script for issue 2 comics called Destiny, and book 2, not issue 2.
Yeah.
Book
2's finished.
Book 2, Destiny, right? And then Ben is also working on Super Black novel. Ben is very busy, guys. Don't bother Ben except for Aisha Comics and anything Super Black and his own comic. What is it called again?
I have multiple ones. I got Star Creep that I'm pushing, and also Hellfire
and Star Creep. Whatever he just said, I'm not gonna repeat it. But Hellfire, I know because I heard Hellfire a lot. It might
be out in the fall or the winter is what I'm aiming to do. 5 issues plus an annual.
Cool.
Next week we will be having David Whalen on, and he is the head of Correct-Handed Comics. He's left-handed. He says that's correct-handed. I don't even bother getting into an argument with him.
It's all good.
Yeah, my dad's kind of left-handed too. He's a little ambidextrous, but yeah.
All right, cool. So everybody, thank you for joining iShook, watching us live. Please share what we're doing because we want to build this community of Aisha Comics and help and really build a community of comic readers and book readers and so on and so forth. So everybody, please, 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 we beseech you to continue watching us. Be well and be safe.